Hello, my name is Gemma, and this is your podcast, Cosmic Woman. Make yourself feel right at home. Allow your heart to expand and your mind to be at peace. We are all one. That's why this is an invitation to listen with your whole being, as if it was you telling your own narrative. Make each episode an opportunity to ask yourself, who am I being as I listen? I bring this podcast to you with so much love and devotion. That love that is you. Hello, women of the world. Thank you for coming to another episode of Ella Cósmica, where today I'm delighted to introduce to you to Mynoo Maryel. Mynoo Maryel is a globally celebrated author. She's a visionary and spiritual thought leader dedicated to igniting conscious leadership and restoring dignity in the world. She's the creator of the Inspired Leadership Index and led a 6-year EU and UK funded study that uncovered the 7 habits of inspired leaders and the 7 deadly sins of leadership. Groundbreaking insights now guiding leaders across sectors. She's also the founder of the World Dignity Forum. She's a mentor to Fortune 500 executives, and she's also the #1 best-selling author of the B book, The Flourishing Code, BHAF, and most recently, Flow, the new leadership paradigm, a powerful invitation to lead with grace, presence, and purpose in the age of brilliance. But she's also an award-winning producer, an entrepreneur, an artist, and a devoted mother and grandmother. And I'm delighted to welcome you to this podcast, Mynoo.
I'm very grateful to be here. It's my privilege. So, yes, let's begin our conversation. I'm looking forward to it, Ella.
Me too, because when I hear the words conscious leadership, something ignites inside of me. For many years, I dedicated myself to conscious leadership, and for different reasons, I kind of let it aside. And now the world life seems to be bringing to me people who are dedicated to that. So, um, yeah, we'll talk about conscious leadership a lot on this podcast. But tell us a bit about yourself first, because before of embarking on your spiritual journey, you were a high-flying executive and entrepreneur in many countries of the world. But then you had some awakenings, and now you know your true mission, and that's what you're dedicated at. So tell us a bit about that, your life before that awakening and your mission.
Yes. Yeah, I was born, brought up in India. And India, I would say, it's just a spiritual land. And yet it is probably one of the best places to be trained for the competitive world. The average age of the population is between 18 to 24. So, nobody's retiring very soon. You just have to be really, really good in what you do to get a good job where, 10,000 or so people apply for every one of those. And then to be promoted, you just have to really be, quite special. So India is a great place to be trained for that, and I was trained for that, all those
Mm,
years ago. It allowed me to go and work in different parts of the world. I was in the IT industry, which is a growing industry at the time, and went on to be in London, from via Saudi Arabia. And it was in London that I got into from IT. I did my MBA program, management MBA program, and then got into business and got the taste of creating my first business and then selling it, and then the taste of creating the second one. And then it was like, okay, this is good. Mastered the idea of converting an idea into business. And then one of my businesses was all about leadership. I called it the Inspired Leaders Network. And I found that there was something unique about some leaders that were able to create what I call as extraordinary results again and again. An extraordinary result for me is unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality of life for yourself, your stakeholders, which includes your family and friends, and the planet. And to be able to do that again and again in different scenario was something I wanted to understand why. And that is what gave rise to the study by the Department of Trade and Industry and the European Union. And from that emerged an understanding that I developed, having 238 leaders around the world and then tracked them over a period of years. I discovered the 7 habits of inspired leadership, started implementing them myself, and had my ups and downs and amazing, amazing experiences throughout until I just felt that nothing made any sense anymore.
Mm.
And this is the point where my business was recovering and recovering very fast after the 2008 financial market collapses. But to me, deep down, I just felt, here I go again, again, another success. It felt like I was a hamster on multiple wheels, just walking, 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 but not getting anywhere. But I didn't know how to express it this time. I just didn't know what I felt. Because everybody who would have looked at me living my life would have wanted to have a life like that. And to me, it didn't make any sense. And one thing led to another. I developed a really significant illness
Mm.
and was rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, it was nothing that was going to last, forever. It wasn't a chronic condition. It was an acute situation. And I remember the doctor saying to me that, this thing can take 3 to 6 months. You should be prepared to be in the hospital or certainly in and out of the hospital. And at this point, it was like, I don't understand. The last time I was in hospital was to give birth to my son. And 20 years later, about 30 years later, I'm like, here again. Didn't make any sense. And it was just before this whole illness appeared, I was speaking to a friend of mine who's based out of New York. And I would always talk to her once a year, really, to understand what my spirit guides are wanting to communicate to me about the following year. And not that I believed in spirit guides or anything like that at the time. My best friend was all about doing everything based on what this friend of mine from New York said to her. So once a year, I would talk to her. And then throughout the year, I was able to, you know, assure my best friend that, I had consulted her, this mutual contact of ours. This time when I call her up, and I remember calling her after I wrote a blog, and the blog was all about Berlin Wall moments. And what I was saying there was that when the Berlin Wall came down, the reality of the world shifted, and all countries had to readjust to a new reality of the world. Cold War was a reality. Berlin Wall comes down; it's no longer a reality. And my question was, do we as humans have Berlin Wall moments? And I talked about a few of mine, and actually, none of them were really my Berlin Wall moment. My Berlin Wall moment was coming, and lo and behold, this illness appears very soon after. And at this point, I'm like thinking, I have to get back in touch with Ellen. So I call her up and I say, what has happened here? And she said to me, listen, your guides really want to communicate with you. You have to get out, go away for 3 weeks and just only focus on who am I and what I want to do next. And go there alone, go somewhere close to the ocean, but not right in front of it, have sufficient, trees and nature around you. And I was like, this is weird. On what basis am I going to go away, for 3 weeks, telling my partner and my son, some woman I have never met in my life has asked me to do this. But both of them, when I shared this with them, they said that, listen, you're in the hospital. It could take 3 to 6 months. If she's saying that when you make a decision, you will actually start getting better very fast, and if you do, then go. If you don't, then you're in the hospital anyway. That made logical sense,
Mm.
So that is a point where I decided to go to Bali.
Mm.
And within 4 days, my condition improved and I was off the drips and I was just given oral antibiotics. So at this point, I did go to Bali. I went there for 3 weeks, decided to stay there for 9 years. And it was it was in Bali that I reconnected to the calling of my soul and decided that the next phase of my life was going to be about living an extraordinary life, where all aspects of life can coexist with ease, joy, and grace. And in the quest of that extraordinary life, I uncovered this whole philosophy of extraordinary results. And the combination of living an extraordinary life where all aspects of my life coexist, focused on delivering extraordinary results, really gave me what my mission is. And my mission really is to create a flourishing world, you know?
Mhm.
And as to accomplish that mission, I teach people on how to experience aliveness so they can live the life they love. And I know, having been an executive, having worked with many, many top executives, that I do like business, actually. I
Mm.
do, and that is a part of me living the life I love. But only doing business in this very single track mind is not what I love anymore. I don't want
Yes.
to do it even for a moment. It's not necessary,
Mm.
because we are holistic beings. So forcing ourselves to just go on a single track mind, is literally applying unnecessary bull force because our bodies at a cellular level are conflicted. So may as well let's just, embody that we have got six cylinders that we are firing on and ignite that spark so that we can really be thriving across these six cylinders. And the six cylinders to me are physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental. And if we are able to literally, fire on all cylinders, we start creating, you know, thriving strategies. And we do so by collaborating and co-creating rather commanding, controlling, or competing,
Yes.
And so from that emerged a new body of work, which was a significant upleveling from inspired leadership to what I call as flourishing leadership. And that gave rise to what is now written in my book called Flow, which really is all about, flourishing brilliantly. And it is a new leadership paradigm. There
Yes.
are specific secrets that flourishing leaders have. They operate from that. They don't even realize they're secret even to them.
Mhm.
Only they just do it as a,
Interesting.
they just
Interesting.
do it naturally. And for me, I was like, okay, I guess the 6 years of studying inspired leaders, I have learned how to, model and post-mortem people's behaviors and how they make choices and decisions, you know. And
Unlock those
that's
secrets.
all
Do you
about.
know how to unlock those secrets?
Yeah. Yes, yes. I can share a few with you. Uh,
Please.
so let me get the book. Um, the first thing is they have a pretty good understanding of that there is a different foundation upon which leaders are building, growing, creating, whatever it is that they are choosing to lead.
Mm.
So at a foundation level, the planet has shifted. And doing what you do, you would absolutely be noticing it.
Mm.
So what I call is that there are some new 10 commandments or
Mhm.
10 facets that form the foundation. Flourishing leaders know what they are. They know how to work with them. And so these 10 commandments or the 10 facets that form the foundation of the new world are uncertainty is what is certain.
Yeah.
Unknown is what is the known.
Yeah.
We are really literally in the realm of the unknown. I mean, something pretty, I would say, magical and yet quite surprising took place yesterday, where I'm in Saudi Arabia. It's the middle of the summer here, right? And I've been leading a 4-week summer camp called Flow for students. So yesterday was the end of the fourth week, and on the way back, suddenly there's like a huge cloud burst and there's dollops of rain. This is the middle of the summer,
Yeah.
dollops of rain. That rain then turns into hailstorm. And it is literally belting pellets of hail on
Yeah.
our car, right? Everything like sort of comes to a grinding halt. And and then the parks and roads are covered with collection of hail, right? And it is completely unknown that something like that happens. It
Yes.
doesn't happen in most parts of the world, let alone over here.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly.
So then how do you respond or react to something
Mm-hmm.
like that? Now flourishing leaders know that is the case. They literally remain present, whatever is occurring. You know,
Yes.
there's another facet which is an important one, which is change is not rapid, it is constant now.
Yes. Yes.
You know? And the fourth one is that take nothing for granted is the
Mm-hmm.
modus operandi of um, this era. At a foundation level, that is what is being supported. Take nothing for granted. Then
Mm-hmm.
there are a few up levelings, a few switches that are there. In in this age, it is not about um, surviving. It's not survival instinct that counts. It is the thriving instinct
Mm.
where survival is taken care of. So there is an actual calling for people to be thinking about thriving. You know,
Yes.
there is a switch from command and control to collaborative co-creation of coexistence.
Yes.
So thriving by itself calls for collaboration, co-creation, coexistence. you know, as opposed to command and control. Because in survival, everyone is like, grappling for their space to command and control, but that's not what the planet is about energetically anymore, you know.
Yes.
Then there's another switch, which is a switch from sustainable to regenerative. Okay,
Beautiful.
it's really
Mm.
about creating regenerative strategies
Yes.
so
Yes.
that and we are armed with amazing technology-based tools, AI being one of them, where you can focus your attention on one thing at one time and then create what you create from that in such a way that you don't have to be focusing on that again.
Yes.
It can regenerate itself and give you the space to do something else. So that is what is being enabled at the moment. So focus on regenerative strategies, right? Flourishing leaders know that. And
Yes.
that's why they engage with it so that flourishing is really the end result.
Mm.
Then there is another very important fact that flourishing leaders understand, which is about unconditional acceptance. Unconditional acceptance is really the lubricant that supports infinite expansion, be it of business, be it in relationships, be it of love, be it of health, and whatever, vibrancy. It is unconditional acceptance. If you get attached and stuck to something that really bothers you, you will remain there. You'll remain there. You just will not be able to move forward, let alone expand.
Yes.
Then what I'm also seeing is, and these are all facets of the foundation of the new earth. So flourishing leaders know they're building whatever it is that they're building on the foundation of this new earth. There is also an up leveling from alignment to flow to coherence. So if you have an aligned team, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually experienced a team where each member of the team was in flow within themselves, within whatever their own, um, you know, intentions are, that's awesome. So you have each member in flow, working as an aligned team, you're in a very good space.
Yeah.
And if you actually had each member of that team completely coherent with their calling, and they're a part of your team as a part of their calling, it enables your business or your project to be coherent.
Yeah.
And you literally can accomplish anything.
Yes.
So there's that up leveling from alignment to flow to coherence. Okay. So it's much easier for people to get coherent than
Right.
it used to be, just simply because the foundation is supporting that. And then finally, there is at foundation level, it is an up leveling from fantastic results to extraordinary results in the way I describe it, which is unprecedented performance, operational excellence, and transforming quality of life for yourself, your stakeholders, and the planet.
Hmm.
So with these 10 facets, so right at the get-go, flourishing leaders understand that is the foundation that we are standing on. So they are very present, they don't take
Yes.
nothing for granted. They don't take anything personally, unconditionally accept, move on, they keep moving forward, you know. So that's one of the very big
Mm-hmm.
secrets.
Yes.
In this realm where you have these 10 facets, flourishing leaders have to know how to navigate the unknown.
Yeah.
So this is another secret that they have, which is how do they navigate the unknown?
Yeah.
And there is a whole process that I talk about in the book that I've noticed that flourishing leaders do. That's another secret. And then there is this whole piece about how they convert anxiety into awesomeness.
Okay.
Everyone experiences anxiety, especially when you're dealing in a world where unknown is the known and uncertainty is certain and take nothing for granted. I could easily have gone into serious level of anxiety yesterday, because I had a mastermind that I was scheduled for. And not only was I not, suddenly the traffic came to a standing halt, not only was I not going to be able to get back in time, I didn't know whether the internet would be consistent or not. No, I could have gone into a major frenzy around it. Instead, it was like I just said, okay, I'm a flourishing leader. I just acknowledge the facts of everything that's going on, unconditionally accepted what is, reached out to Soma, who has been working with you on my behalf,
Yes.
and just shared with her what the issue is. And, she found somebody else to just step in and take it on. And it turned out to be an even better mastermind than if I had somehow
Yeah.
rushed and got there.
Life knows. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, so that's one piece, one path. So I've uncovered like 7 pathways of converting anxiety into awesomeness.
Hmm.
And this was all about stay grounded in fact. Don't give meaning to anything, acknowledge what has happened, get back to fact,
Hmm.
and then make choices and decisions. And
Hmm.
that's what I did. So there are 7 pathways that leaders have, the flourishing leaders have.
Yeah.
They also have a very interesting way in which they take the goals of their team and get the team to convert those goals into a resolve. They use a very specific method to do that. Then everybody's operating from a state of resolve as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to goal that they're working towards.
Yes. Yes.
They're literally operating from resolve of an intention that is calling them to step into that intention. Much harder to be going against the grain, working towards something that isn't there. But if you already know that something already exists, vibrationally it does, there's a method you use to do that, then it calls you forth.
Hmm.
It's much easier,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Another secret that I found is that flourishing leaders, uh, whenever they are very solution oriented,
Mm-hmm.
and they focus on what I term as resolutions, which are solutions coming from a resolve, as opposed to just solutions as patchwork or fixes. They actually deal with resolutions. Flourishing leaders live an extraordinary life where all aspects of life coexist. So they have very specific ways in which they track what constitutes all aspects of life.
Mm.
And for them to coexist, what do they do more of? What do they do less of? What do they do stop tolerating? All of those things come in, you know?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Flourishing leaders are very aware of the three things that they're born with: choice, so they're always choosing; dignity, which is honoring of their own worthiness and that in others, so they are always doing that; and a source mastery, a mastery of a very unique, their own unique ability that puts them at the source of their life. So that's something that they operate from and work with. They create accountability cultures where everyone knows what they are accountable for,
Mm.
and they declare their accountabilities, they own their accountabilities. It's not a culture of responsibility where everybody feels burdened.
Yes.
That inhibits their ability to respond. It's much more about people proudly declaring their accountability. There's a flourishing leaders know how to use failure as a rocket fuel to fast forward whatever it is that they are intending to accomplish. I call it failure to flourishing strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain strategies that they use to do that. They also have a habit of using the game philosophy to accomplish the results. So in any game, you have players, you have a captain, you have coaches, you have mentors, you have cheerleaders, you have people on the stand watching and cheering, right? And the game itself has a very unique, very measurable, very specific distinction, like intention. So flourishing leaders make sure that everybody understands what game they're playing, and they have the freedom to choose to be a player or not. And they only play the game with players,
Mm-hmm.
not with anybody else. So they know that.
Okay.
They have a very unique understanding of the nuances of accomplishing their resolve. I call it they know how to keep their finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
They know what is theirs to do. You know,
Yeah.
Coaching leaders also adopt a being lifestyle. Rather than being busy doing, they are much more clear about who they are being, and whilst the doing is following. And and in my book, I behave, I talk about you can be and have what you desire. They implement that as a matter of design. I see that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Flourishing leaders also have a daily practice. They don't compromise on the daily practice. That happens every single day. There's a way in which they manage their time. I call it time segmentation.
Mm-hmm.
There is also a very unique relationship they have to fear as a fuel for freedom.
Okay.
Okay. And they work with fear being false expectations appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
That's what FEAR stands for. So they know how to work with that. And they know how to empower their teams to work with it. There's a way in which they create their planning of accomplishing their resolve. I call it the velocity planning method.
Mm-hmm.
There's a way in which they influence others buying into their ideas, their products, their projects. And I call it the buy-in code, which I uncovered. So that's also in the book. And there are a couple of other like bonus elements that are in the book, which is, how do they create a winning pitch? Um, so that any pitch they create actually really does win and attract investors. They have a way in which they structure that, you know.
Yeah.
So and I found as a matter of philosophy, flourishing leaders are decisive. They don't try anything. They just don't waste their time on trying.
Okay.
Okay, because it's too trying, exhausting.
Yes.
They decide and get on with it.
Yes.
And that decision could be, I'm not doing anything about it. Or it could be, okay, I'm going to do a focus sprint on this, and I'm going to do a focus long haul, step by step approach to accomplishing whatever it is, they decide and do it.
Mm.
Flourishing leaders also are averse to hoping. They're not into this hoping thing.
Mm.
They're much more about being real and making empowered choices as opposed to hoping for the best. So it's
Yes.
a very different languaging that I hear
Mm-hmm.
of flourishing leaders,
Mm.
you know. Um, yeah, these are some of the secrets
Mm.
that I uncovered. And when I talk about in my book, practical ways in which each of these can be implemented. Um,
Awesome. Really interesting. I love listening to you. And how I'm wondering how because for me most of the things you said come from the spiritual world, who are into consciousness, into dissolving the ego and all those things, are familiar with those concepts, with those things, and bringing that into the business. I think it's a life changing for the world. Is big, but how do people in business, in corporations, are accepting those new ways that you are offering?
uh, you know, uh, Fortunately for all of us, we have all gone through the COVID phenomenon, I call it.
Yes.
Right? And people had different experiences of anxieties, different experiences of intensified fear.
Mm.
And also, all of us have had some experience or the other during that time of what we might call as failure,
Mhm.
right? So whether they have ambition or not, they have had these experiences, and they were not necessarily pleasant experiences.
Mhm.
So I'm finding that when I'm able to share with them, there is actually a structure to this.
Yes.
I'm not asking you to just go and sit in the mountain. I'm saying there is a structure to this. It's very logical. You can actually use it and see the difference then and there, you know. And so they're willing to give it a go. That's how it begins.
Mm.
Rather than saying to them, I'm all about conscious leadership, which is, I'm not only about conscious, I'm also about conscientious leadership,
Mhm.
you know. So I don't necessarily talk about that, even though that is something that is a consequence of what I'm doing. I talk about the extraordinary results. I talk about how using my methodology, you can have that and you can really enjoy living a life.
Yes.
You can build a flourishing business, have flourishing relationships, and flourishing life
Yes.
filled
Yes.
with aliveness. It's that combo which is the winning formula. So they are open to
Yeah.
listening and they say, go, okay, tell me more.
Mhm.
Now, I have now had the fortune and the privilege to have worked with many corporations. So I have corporate leaders who people can talk to ask how their experience has been, you know, and what can they do now that they weren't able to do before, and what specific accomplishments they have had. So all of those are very real evidences,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So people want those results,
Yes.
whatever it takes to get there. And then
Oh,
when they talk to corporate executives, they realize, oh, actually they are like me. I had all of those concerns. This guy's been able to get over it and accomplish this.
yeah.
Okay, I'm interested to having a go. That's what happens.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the key thing. Nobody really likes being lectured at.
Yeah.
It's very different when you're sharing and exchanging experiences than being told what to and to not do.
Mm.
you know
Yeah. Fabulous. I love that, and I love the fact that because you said earlier in the interview that you love business. So bringing all these new concepts, new ideas, and new ways of leadership into the business world, I think is crucial, because businesses actually made the world, whether we want it or not, right? They bring the innovations and the solutions for all of us. So changing the business from within, which is what you're doing, will change the world, which is your mission. I can see that. I love it. I love it. Um, but we're talking about a huge mission that you have. But does everyone has a soul mission that involves doing something in the world, or maybe just realizing that I am this being beyond my form, or
Yeah.
dissolving the ego? Is that enough to just have a purpose and just lead a more conscious life? What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very good question. When I was going through my spiritual awakening journeys, I examined that in some
Yeah.
depth. There was a whole year, I remember 2012, most of that year I spent in silence, contemplating these different topics. And this was definitely one of those. And the way I placed it was, what is life?
Mm.
What is death? And what is love? And, what is the purpose of being here even? And is it distinct for each of us, right? And these were the answers I got as downloads, and I've been operating with that understanding, right? So life is simply a state. It's a state in which an organism is breathing. Okay, and that state can change like that.
Yeah.
Organism stops breathing,
Mhm.
and you're now in a state of death, right? So really, what is the purpose of life is my question. It can't be one big sentence or two or three pages and stuff. That can be a mission, but what's the purpose of life?
Mm.
Um, there has to be, just like life is a state in which an organism is breathing, it's a generic statement and applies everywhere from little caterpillars to human beings to eagles to dolphins to everyone, right? Um, so what I got for myself and for everyone is, there is only one purpose to life. Everyone's life only has one purpose, and the purpose is to come alive, right? Modus operandi is to live the life, and that enables you to come alive. Now, how you feel alive can become more and more specific,
Mhm.
right? So I have chosen now to say, okay, my aliveness is guaranteed when I'm creating a flourishing world, you know? And with flow, I'm defining what that means for me, you know?
Yes.
So it's like, okay, that's what aliveness. So as far as I can say, there really is only one purpose to life, and it is the only purpose to all life, humans and beyond, um, and before humans even. There's only one purpose to life, which is to take this amazing gift of the state of life, live it, and come alive. You understand yourself and shift and adapt such that you feel comfortable enough to declare, what is it that makes you come alive?
Mhm.
Okay. So that would be my answer to your question, which
Yes.
is, there is only one purpose to life,
Yeah.
which is to come alive. What does aliveness mean to you?
Mm. So what brings you joy, right? What makes you
Yeah.
feel
Yeah,
that
what,
joy
what, what
inside?
makes you joy? I call it, feeling of that unequivocal flow of yumminess in your body.
I love
What
it.
brings that?
Jaminus.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Um, you talk a lot about the age of brilliance, which I love. Um, does it mean the end of the identification with the ego self for all of us, finally?
Yeah, there was a very big occurrence or happening in on this spring sol equinox. This is the 21st of March, 2025, and that brought to an end a 6,000-year-old age of command and control. And in the Hindu scriptures, they call it Kali Yuga. And from that point on, a new age has come in. And this is the age I'm calling the age of brilliance.
Mhm.
And it is really about personalizing how you choose to live your life for yourself, coming from this amazing state of brilliance within you, right? So um, that is one of the first things to understand. A cosmic reset has occurred, and I can really go on talking so much about it. So I call it the great cosmic reset, actually, rather than only a cosmic reset. And it is this reset that is anchoring the age of brilliance. itself. It rewires you at a DNA level. It's so profound, it reshapes even your destiny. And you feel as if reality itself is being reconfigured. The important thing to understand is that in the past, stuff has happened around us and we have reacted to it. In this great cosmic reset, it's not happening to you, it's happening through you.
Yeah.
That's an important thing to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes this reset great? Because it is all encompassing. It literally touches every layer: your cells, your relationships, your work, your society, your planet, all of it. It is also great because it calls forth for you to step into your greatness. And when you step into your greatness, you learn to lead, to love, to live fully and flourish completely fearlessly. And this reset is the great cosmic reset because the entire cosmos is conspiring for our awakening. The planetary alignments, the solar flares, all of those are so activated at the moment that they are physically shifting timelines. We're able to accomplish certain things much faster than we were able to, almost like a time collapse.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that are just simply not meant to be, however easy they may seem, don't come about.
Mm-hmm.
There are some, galactic waves that are hitting our planet. And as it occurs, they have an activating effect. They activate any dormant cosmic codes that may be, hidden from your awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And the consequence of all of that, this is that we will see a collective consciousness of the earth is rising, and it is pulling us upward towards it. In this great reset, the cosmos is not separate from your journey. It is your co-creator and a collaborator at times. What is being reset? Reset actually doesn't mean being calm. It actually means, reset means, you know, to identify and decide how you're going to deal with proactively in the context of what is a false collapse, what is incomplete is completed, what is misaligned and cannot be aligned is dissolved, what is true is actually amplified. So time is resetting, power is resetting, and we are experiencing a lot of this. Love is
Yeah.
resetting. Your identity itself is resetting to your originating brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
You're not losing yourself, you're simply remembering yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key thing to remember. I'll pause here because otherwise I can just take on
Sure.
20 minutes. And I have identified 12 features that define this cosmic moment. And
Mm-hmm.
we can actually work with these cosmic moment distinctions.
Yeah, astrologically, Pluto just came into Aquarius a few months ago, and that is a huge shift in consciousness. Pluto being the giver of consciousness, the one that wakes you up, being in Aquarius, which is the sign of the collective of innovation, is definitely a new era starting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been studying Kashmir Shaivism for a while, which I love. I adore it. And somehow studying there, I learned that Kali Yuga ends in a few thousand years from now still. So where did you get that? It's actually
Um, yeah.
ending now.
So there are
What happened?
it is actually it is all available online even now.
Yeah.
So there is a there is no time collapse is real, right? So yes, it was meant to. There were like another like 54,000 years
Yeah,
left or
a
something
lot,
crazy
a lot
like
of
that.
time. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And the planet itself would have had to restart at this point for us to get there. And it was designed for it to be rebirth itself. And in
Yes.
the past, when the planet Earth has rebirthed itself, it has restarted. This time, it has chosen not to restart it, but the rebirth has taken place. So we are not restarting. So
Mhm.
we've actually caught up on several tens of thousands of years, right? Now, in this, there's Kali Yuga and there is Kali Yuga, right? So the Kali Yuga began, whatever, 54, about 5,800 years ago,
Mhm.
right? At a particular point where Lord Krishna actually died with an arrow hitting his big toe on the right foot. That is a point where it began. And it could have just continued. But the frequency of the planet is heightened. It has really risen quite massively. And that is what has brought the end to it much faster. Now, Indians talk about the return of the golden age. There is no return of the golden age, so it is not going to play out like that at all. In the golden age, the environment around you was really defined in the context of the golden age, like an environment of purity, a container of truth, and all of that was there. And we humans in amidst that container did whatever we did, to give rise to the command and control era that we all have experienced.
Yes.
And the massive mindset reset, which brought about a value reconnection for humans, took place during the COVID phenomenon. When it was occurring, I used to say, this will last 2 weeks or it'll last 2.5 years. It will not go beyond 2.5 years, and it's not going to be less than 2 weeks. It lasted 2.5 years or so, right? With all of these various lockdowns and this and that in different places. It's not that we are not having some crazy viral infections that are spreading rapidly. We are, that it is happening even now, you know. But there's enough of a critical mass of humans that have reconnected to their core values. So they are plugged into their brilliance. And that is what has given rise to that final switch and handover to the new era, which is, I'm calling it the age of brilliance.
The age of.
Brilliance is very personal.
Hmm.
Something else may be brilliant and it can impact you, but you experiencing brilliance really never occurs from anything outside. You can look at a diamond and it is brilliant in how it's sparkling. You don't feel that brilliance from within you until you plug into what's going on within you. And
Yes.
that is the
Yes.
distinctive feature of the age of brilliance. Okay, there are many, there are literally 12 features of this great cosmic reset, which enable things like time collapse. Time was never linear. Command and control, uh, you know,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
gave rise to time as a linear thing. It never was, and it never is, and never will be. Now it is just actualizing into what it is, which
Mm.
is you intend, you get pure, get that purity, towards your intent, and it occurs.
Yes.
So, and there's a huge cleaning up of our quantum fields that has taken place and is taking place, right? So as a result, we are all becoming not just manifestors, but quantum manifestors. You can apply conscious awareness to this and then really have what it is that you want, that makes you come alive. So
Yes. I
a bit
love.
of a long answer with the various aspects to it, but
I love that. I have those videos of you about quantum
manifestations.
brilliance
Yeah.
to watch because there's so many that haven't had time yet to listen to all of them. But that I'm very interested
I
to listen
actually
to.
do a session in the morning, but it's like in the middle of the night in Europe. So
Ah,
I do it every Friday morning
oh, really?
for me and Thursday evening Pacific time. So
Hmm.
Thursday evening Pacific time at about 5:30 p.m. is
Okay.
I do the age of brilliance. I call them transmissions.
Wow. How can we join those?
I will send you the link
Okay.
to it,
Awesome.
and you can certainly, I mean, they are on YouTube. You can certainly
Yeah.
watch them later
Ah,
on.
okay. I haven't got to them
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, Another word of yours that I listen a lot is miracle, human miracles as well. Tell me a bit about that. What is?
So, yes, a miracle to me is where something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. You
Mm,
know, and if anything was possible and there were no barriers, what is it that I would love to see happen and occur on this planet is that expecting and accepting miracles becomes the norm for humans and humanity. It is the norm. It just, we don't relate to it that way. So for me, a miracle is where something beautiful occurs that makes your heart sing. Your heart is beating. That is the song of the heart. So it is singing. It's just a matter of you connecting. What is it that's making my heart sing right now? And it's often closer than you realize. It so I say to people, everyone has a miracle lens. You literally get your miracle lens out, it gets you to zoom in on the now. And when you zoom in on the now, you find so many things that are actually pretty amazing. So if I was to say to you that, okay, let's look at, in the moment, what's making your heart sing right now? What would you say?
at the moment, just listening to all this beautiful conversation is making my heart sing
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and really for me it is also being aware of that what technology enables. There you
Yeah.
are in Europe, here I am in Saudi Arabia, and we're having this conversation that's going to go across the globe.
Yes.
You know, uh, for people who don't necessarily, people who have means, people who have no means, and AI enables it to be translated in a variety of languages as well. You
Yes.
know,
Isn't that
us being able
fabulous?
to have this discussion
Hmm.
is making my heart sing. Now, that was only a few seconds that you and I talked, and we came up with a few things, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So what it actually shows us is that, you know, every moment is rich in stuff that is making your heart sing, right? And there are so many moments that make up 1 second. There are 60 seconds that make up 1 minute, right? And there's 60 minutes that make up an hour and 24 hours that make up a day. So if you want to be like a graduate in practicing how to know what's making your heart sing and how to live in the now, you can do that. Use your miracle lens for 24 hours, right? And you will actually experience that, my God, life is so abundant. Lack disappears.
Hmm.
That's why I love it so much. Because you become very present to, wow, every moment is a moment of miracles.
Hmm.
And they are my miracles, that I'm experiencing. If I'm experiencing it, anybody in the world can experience it.
Yes.
For me, the most important thing, Ella, is we talk so much about diversity, right? And for me, it is like diversity is a given. Let's celebrate
So true.
sameness.
It's-
Let's celebrate sameness. What's same about us? Rather than highlighting our differences, let's celebrate what's the same about us. And I feel that will really dissolve this conflicts that we are seeing popping up in different parts of the world, celebrating sameness. And a miracle lens is there for everyone, exactly the same way. You'll see some things different, I'll see something different, but each of us will have stuff that we can exchange.
Mm. I love that. I really love that. Is that sameness that will bring us together, not actually focusing on the diversity that separates and looks at the
Yeah.
differences. I love that. Thank you so much. Um, Anything else you would like to add about flourishing leadership or your flow program?
Yes. So, what I've realized is, so I have got three verticals that I work in.
Hmm.
Okay. There is one which is called as Flow Ignite, and in Flow Ignite, I work with leaders within corporations, and we have a whole corporate program that is delivered. Um, foundation on the Flourishing Leaders of the World curriculum. And we integrate within it new evolutions and developments in technology, including business models, AI, blockchain, and various other technologies. Some of them are also emerging. Anything that a leader ought to understand, in addition to the 12 secrets, is embedded in it. Okay. There is a very small, very specific piece of the work I do with corporates, which is only for founders of businesses.
Okay.
Okay, I call them the Flourishing Founders Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and here I work with hand chosen founders who are ambitious, have got a mission, have got a vision, have built a business, had experienced some success, but are now stuck. But they still have the ambition to accomplish what they wish to accomplish. So with these founders, I have them become a part of our collective. And these founders come together, once a month for a whole day, and at least once a year in person. Okay. And they go through a very specific program that I have, which takes the founders from where they are to either starting to scale again or founders from where they are to a very exciting exit.
Mm-hmm.
And that exit could be exiting their current state to a whole new level of growth, or exiting their current business and doing whatever it is that they wish to do with their life, right? So
Fabulous.
I use all of those 12 secrets, including every little learning of the age of brilliance, in making that come about. So that's on the corporate side. For individuals, I do a series of immersions. Okay, I don't call them retreats. Retreat is like you're retreating away from where you are. I
Yes.
go to get clear about what is it that you wish to accomplish, and then let's immerse into that. When you immerse into it, whatever doesn't serve it is going to disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then my immersions are focused on particular topics. There is a founder's immersion, which is all about business. There is an immersion which is all about romance. I call it Romance Triple R, Refresh, Restore, Resurrect. And there is an immersion about living your passion now, and there's an immersion about living the life you love, where I deal with anxiety to awesomeness. Um, I have like a Refresh, Restore, Resurrect immersion coming up in Rome in September, in the first weekend of September. So that I do the romance one in Rome.
Okay.
Okay. There's a very
Beautiful.
specific one which I do with very select of founders of mine, which is to do with, taking their business and creating a legacy. So that also I like to do in Rome.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a very special place that I do it in. They have their own farms, although it's literally, from branch to plate is what you eat.
Nice. Very nice.
And then I have my whole project, which is really me giving back into the world, into
Uh-huh.
society. Okay. And that is the Dignity Project. So a part of that is taking the flow program into colleges and educational institutions,
Yeah.
training students on this form of leadership and this form of living their life. It gives
Fabulous.
me
Yeah.
profound joy to do it.
Oh, yeah.
We just completed a 4-week summer camp here
Yeah.
in Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia with men and women, young students, 100 of these. It was amazing. So that is one very important part. There's another, so it is a part of the Dignity Project has every child is nurtured and every child is nourished. Every child is nurtured. I deliver through the flow program into educational institutions. Every child is nourished. We focus on hidden hunger, and we work in partnership with another organization where we provide fortified, nutrition fortified breakfasts to about 18 million children every single day.
Wow.
So, I mean, we provide an important contribution towards this. The demand is 80 million, So
Wow.
18 million is achieved so far.
Wow.
Um, because we used to, there's a huge midday meal program that the Indian government has, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I could not bear the thought of a child sitting in the class learning and being waiting for that 12 o'clock to get his lunch, so found this amazing organization that does the a breakfast, and then we supported them to deal with nutrition, because what happens is hidden hunger is a very big issue, not just for poor people but also for very wealthy folk. We're just not very conscious of our nutrition.
Yes.
So our
Yes.
bodies remain hungry still.
Yeah.
So that is an area that we are working with.
Mm.
I also had to do a series of dignity dialogues with solutionaries that have got amazing solutions for what some of the world's most pressing concerns, or amazing innovations for up-leveling our world into a flourishing place. I'm building up to what I call as a World Dignity Forum, as a conscious parallel to the World Economic Forum. So economy by itself is what has caused this situation where a tree has value once it is chopped, and the forest, it has no value. So forests are chopped, and we are all impacted by climate change issues. What happened yesterday? Maybe it was climate change. I don't know. In the middle of the summer, to have this crazy hailstorm,
Mm. Mm.
bringing an entire city to a halt.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's those are the three things that I work with. My books and what I write and the podcast that I'm doing are ways of really getting these messages out.
Yes. Mynoo, it's been a real honor listening to you, and a pleasure to hear all those things and all the things that you're doing for the world. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. How can we get access to your content, to your podcast, to your books?
Yes, I will send you. My books are all available on Amazon in
Hmm.
whichever country you are. So Flow by Mynoo Maryel, you can buy there. I'm also on Author Central. So in case you can't remember the books, you can go into Mynoo Maryel in Amazon. You'll find me. MynooMaryel.com is my website as well. And with Mynoo Maryel, I'm there on all of the social media handles too. Um, and I'm happy to, since you are in Europe,
Yes.
share with you the information about the upcoming
Awesome. Yes,
event
please
in
send us.
Rome. Yeah. So
Yes.
we do them in Rome, in Dubai, in Bali,
Hmm.
and Northern California. Really great to connect. Would love to keep our connection going too.
Yes, I would love that too. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a real pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Wonderful. Same here. Same here. Thank you. And really admire the work you do.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for joining me and giving yourself to this experience. You can find all platforms for this podcast in the description, so please subscribe to the ones you like the most. Your essence is cosmic. You are a celestial being, a cosmic traveler, a vessel for the light and pure consciousness. With all my love.